Yeah, so I'm on the couch with Mac. Mark Page, is it?
Yeah, Mark
nice
Page.
one, man. Some people call you Mac though, don't they?
Yeah, I get called Mac. It goes back a few years. It's an old thing, isn't it? You miss out your R's. So instead of people calling me Mark, as my mother would call me, Mark, I like the Queen's English. Up here it's Mac.
Nice.
So over the years the R's just got kicked out. So it's just Mac. Cheesy as hell. No, to be honest, it started. Obviously, I've been DJing a few years, and I was at Silhouette, and there was a guy called Mick, and he wanted a double act sort of DJ for doing an indie night. So he said, why don't we call it Mick and Mac? And I went, go on then.
And that stuck over.
And then all of a sudden I had these posters everywhere, and it's Mick and Mac, and people just got to know it's just Mac for a period.
Going back to the DJ things, Redlocz said that you used to DJ as well. Chop Bar Cheese. Isn't it?
Bass House.
That was it. So do you remember it from then?
No, Bass House, that was there.
I didn't even know.
Well, I started DJing in '85 down in Devon, and I was just doing the usual sort of holiday campsites, rugby clubs, cricket clubs, hotels, weddings, all that sort of stuff. And then I started getting into the bars and clubs, sort of 17, 18, and went abroad to New York and did 8 months out there working in the bars, just when house music was just kicking off. So that was really exciting. And then I came back to Devon in 89 and worked at a big water filling park, became the entertainment manager there. And then 1990 went off to Greece and spent 3 years out there working in the bars and clubs, mainly for Club 830, unfortunately. But no, it was a fun time in my youth. But no, I met a girl in Hull, and I came to Hull in 1992, about October. Just, I think Romeo and Juliet had just been closed down. I came to the city and I needed work, and I got offered Bass House in town. And at the time, I sort of come from a 3,000 cap venue in Corfu, and then next thing I'm working in Bass House in the city centre on a Saturday afternoon, and I've never seen a sight like it. And even though over the years I always said I met some wrong uns in Bass House, at the same time I met the right uns as well. They're the best people.
Because it's real, isn't it?
I had a great time there. The landlord and landlady, Tony and Andrea Roberts, were just very, very kind to me, and he treated me like a surrogate son for 6 years, I think it was. I was there. And I thoroughly enjoyed that period. I sort of embraced the city itself, got an idea and understanding of the people, and then moved on to the avenues and I went to Limit.
Is that where the accent's from, Devon?
Yeah, Torquay.
Nice one. Because you could still hear the accent coming through.
A little bit. So I'm from a family of Cockneys. My mum's a true bred Cockney, born at London Hospital in Bow Bell, under the sound of Bow Bells, but my dad, my brother and sister were all born in sort of Essex, sort of East London area.
Wow.
So I grew up with a lot of London accents, but obviously growing up in Torquay, I get a bit of that West Country twang as well.
All goes to pot, man, and then you come to Hull.
Yeah. And I've lived with Scousers and Geordies and whatever, so I've got a bit of everything in there somewhere.
Cool. So you've always been involved in the entertainment industry then?
Yeah, I've made a living out of music, which is a rarity, really. I was thinking this the other week. There was a music conference at Polar Bear. Launchpad came over and sort of giving great advice out to emerging musicians and saying it is hard to have a career in music. It might be like a second job to a lot of people. And I sort of sat there and I was thinking, all right, 38 years being employed through music. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love the social engagement. I love music. That's the bottom. I think that's the common denominator between us. We love music and
entertainment, having a good time.
Yeah, and I love socialising. I love bringing people together for a good time. And I've managed partly to do that quite successfully over the years. I've had reasonable success, like you have as well, putting on various events and gigs and festivals, and it's been fun.
People don't realise how much experience that you carry sometimes, do they? Do you know what I mean?
They probably don't know that I worked in a waterfront park for 8 months, and I took Helen Chamberlain's job, who was quite a famous TV presenter on Soccer AM for many years, and she was the DJ in the bar at this water theme park, and she got a job on radio. And I was a lifeguard in there, and the boss of the water park said, like, didn't you do some DJing out abroad? And I said, yeah. And he said, you fancy having a go in the pub of this water theme park? And I went, yeah, all right. So I started doing that, and then I started organising Shades and Schultz parties every Wednesday night, where people would go into the water park, have a couple of hours in there, all over 18, and then come into the bar for fun and games, and then we'll put them on a coach and we'll take them across the bay, so everyone can see like the illuminated lights, and take them to a nightclub, and we'd get them in the nightclub free, and they'd have a full night out, and we'd charge £3.50, and I took a couple of lads out of the water park to go out selling tickets along the beaches, and we used to get 300-400 people in there every Wednesday night. It was amazing.
Wow.
Quite near knuckle at times, but it was amazing. It was it was a great summer, that.
So you moved to Hull in '92. And you met your wife.
Met my missus in Sid Scarborough's.
Amazing.
Yeah. So no, I've been married. Got married in 2018, but we've been together a few years. I've got 3 kids.
Nice one.
So I've got twins and an older girl. They're all 28. Work that one out. But no, Deb and I met through Sid Scarborough's across the counter, buying records. How cool's that?
Great, and passion for music as well. Music's done you a favour then.
Yeah, when I first met her, she was really into her music. She was mainly into her dance, but she had like a bit of an indie background as well. But then obviously kids come along, and she's not out and about as much as she used to be, and she sort of just listens to whatever's on the radio now. She's not that interested like I am, with music.
But you're still up there.
I'm always chasing the next big, the next sound. Yeah.
So just goes on to just like the bass house, because like I said, my mate Red Eye, he was saying that he remembers you, but I don't remember you from then.
I didn't have the beard though then. I didn't have the beard. So I looked a bit egg-shaped. Looked like Bod.
What was he playing there?
Oh God. So
it's a mixture.
Yeah, well, so 92 was still quite housey. I'd just come back from Corfu, and in Corfu there was a lot of house. I was playing a lot of house music, and in Bass House, there was a lot of house, all vinyl.
There was a lot of fights as well.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
but by 93, 94, indie guitar bands started to sort of appear again. Following on from the first sort of, from sort of the baggy scene of the Manchester in the late 80s, with Stone Roses, Happy Mondays and all that charlatans. But no, 93, 94, Oasis sort of came on the scene, Ocean Colours scene, and Britpop started to happen with Pulp and James and everything, and there wasn't anywhere really in town played that sort of music. The towny pubs were quite poppy and R&B and dance, so I started playing a lot of indie, and that grabbed people's attention. Started doing a mob night called Revival, getting the scooter crowd down every Tuesday.
I had that.
Used to put Quadrophenia on the screen every week while they all came in and had their sandwiches and some Britpop and Northern Soul. That was a good period. But no, there was trouble in there, but it was a different time.
There's trouble everywhere though. People glassing people every weekend, weren't they? But then Hull's kind of one of the places where they did do that though.
But we didn't have knife crime then. Not that knife crime is it's awful across the UK. Mainly in the inner city areas, there is a problem in Hull with knife crime, but not to the extent of London, cities, Manchester, big cities. But no, there wasn't knife crime back then. It was proper fisticuffs and there was the odd glass and whatever, bottle and whatever. But
you was behind the decks. So
I was behind the decks. I was hiding behind the decks.
So just like you're kind of a veteran in the game, do you know what I mean? And just I thought I'd come down and just pick your brains about just the journey, man. It's been pretty cool, man. You're keeping it humble as well, which I like. And
appreciate that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I like that. I try. I think it's because my name's Paige. I'm like a bit of an open book. I sort of wear my heart on my sleeve. A lot of people tell me, and I just say it as it is.
And you like your background as well. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm the same. I'm quite grounded. Do you know what I mean? Parents and stuff. And I always said if I ever do well, I'm not going to change. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Kind of one of them things. Because like it's all about just being alright with people, isn't it? You
Yeah.
find that you're alright with people.
Yeah, bottom
just
line.
give them respect as you want them respect, and
That's
then
it.
do you know what I mean? You get that back, and
It's the
you won't get
man-
people calling you behind. Do you know what I mean? Calling you behind your back, and you know what I mean? They know you're real, so they're going to be real with you, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's pretty much the mantra that my beloved parents sort of give us as kids. I grew up in a guest house, so mum and dad had a guest house down in like Torquay, Paynton, and we used to have guests living in the house. So you'd get used to people being in your house, so you'd have to be polite. And my parents, basically the mantra is, be nice, and people will be nice back to you.
Good ethos.
Show respect, you'll get respect back. Just be kind, and that's what I've passed on to my kids. And I don't think anything's changed throughout life. I'm just the same. I'm the same as I was back in 1992, except I've got a few more responsibilities now.
Yeah, like I say, I'm the same. You know what I mean? I kind of have different varied friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From like very poor friends and homeless people to I still treat the same. You know, if I start
real
seeing
people.
what they want to live. Do you know what I mean? And to like people who I know quite. Do you know what I'm saying? And as long as they're over me,
yeah.
I'm not going to be judgmental. Do you know what I mean? Because I've always got dreads and stuff. I'll be alright with them. You know what I'm saying?
I've always said that to my kids. Like, it doesn't matter if there's a guy selling a big issue like on the street and that wants your attention. Be kind, show respect. If it's the Lord Mayor and he talks to you, be kind, show respect. Just be nice to people. It's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Like just like say use your manners and stuff. Because manners, like say, go far, don't they?
And I think a big part of sort of going through life and being positive is surrounding yourself with good people. I mean, what you do with Beats Plus, you're surrounded with really good people. People who are passionate, enthusiastic, people who want to share their experience with others, inspire others, and that's through being nice, and being kind, and being respectful, and and it's the same with with the festival that we do, Humber Street Sesh, and I say we because you're very much a big part of it. Working with the likes of Beats Plus makes that festival, because we're working with good people. Surround yourself with good people, and that was the old ethos of the festival. Was if we can bring everyone together to work together, we can all share the rewards together. And I think that mantra is still prevalent now. Like coming out of COVID and all the development happening in the city and the economic crisis and the climate crisis that we're all, it is a tough period at the moment. But if we all sort of club together and work together, we can still create some great events.
People power, that's amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't really take it away, even though AI is coming into play and all this. I remember, we can't take away the.
You can't take away that social interaction between people.
Yeah, so that takes us on to, like you say, the Humber Street Sesh. Because how many years is it now? Is it 9?
Well, it's 10. It was the 10th anniversary a few weeks back. But we have done. I mean, the roots of that festival is from the weekly Sesh night that started at Linnet Lark in 2002, and we did that for 10 years. And after 10 years, or as it was coming up to its 10th birthday, Freedom Festival asked us if we would kindly put on a stage of local music, and we did it in 2010 for Freedom Festival down here, and in 2011 we thought we'd get asked back, and Freedom didn't ask us. So I took it upon myself to go and speak to a couple of owners down Humber Street and see if there was a couple of warehouses spare where we could put like 60 to 80 acts on over that Freedom weekend. So we did that in 2011. And then in 2012, to celebrate 10 years of Sesh, weekly Tuesday night at Polar Bear now, but was at Linnet, I came and saw Dave Mays down here at Social, Fruit as it was called then, and just said, I've got this idea for a little festival. Could we sort of all work together and sort of see if we can attract maybe 1,000 people down to watch some local bands and a few DJs, a bit of art, and sort of just started clubbing people together. And we were pleasantly surprised with 10,000 turned up that first year, and we quickly learned that we had to get more infrastructure in place and make it safe for everyone. So we did it again in 2013.
How many was you expecting?
1,000 that first year.
10,000?
10,000 turned up, and we had I think it was about 8 toilets, and we had 4 security from Welly Club, 4 doormen basically from Welly Club, to manage 10,000 people down the street, and it was bedlam, absolute bedlam. But we got through the day without incident, And it was a great day, and then there was a furore to sort of do it again. We looked at it in 2013, said, all right, let's try it again, but make it free, and maybe because of the number we might have to spread out a little bit more and use Wellington Street and maybe a bit of the marina. And that second year as a free event, 40,000 turned up.
Yeah, I remember.
And that just blew our minds. And then when it was talked about, right, we'll have to do it every year, or people would like to see it repeat itself, we knew that we had to bring more infrastructure. We needed more than 4 doormen for 40,000 people. We needed more than 8 toilets for 40,000 people. And with that, with bigger stages and more security and stuff, the costs just spiralled. So if you think the first festival in 2012 cost us £18,000 to put on, the second festival cost us, I think, 60,000.
Bit of a difference.
And these were free events, and this was all done through sponsorship, and I think there was a little bit of funding maybe from the council back then. And then we got some bar money from 1 or 2 bars that sort of wanted to help out at the time. But then it jumped to the third year, and we got Justine Peacock on board from Prestige Support, who's run most of the flagship events in the city over the last 30 odd years. She's provided security and the sort of event management of these events. So we brought in the expert, and Justine came on board with myself and Dave, and we attributed a £3 cost to the festival, thinking, well, £3 and £5 on the day, that should cover the cost. We weren't going into it thinking, oh, we're going to make loads of money from it. And then, we capped it at 32,000 that third year. And we did that for a few years, and we realised we weren't covering the costs. We weren't getting paid for putting in the year's work on an event. It was just taking over our lives.
So that people don't see.
Yeah, people don't see that bit. It's not just about booking some bands and putting them on a stage. There's lots of things.
There's
traffic
management.
There's traffic management. There's insurance. There's
all the paperwork.
There's loads of paper, health and safety.
There's stuff that people don't
first
see.
First aid, production. Yeah, and even the bar stuff and everything like that. There's lots involved. Dealing with sponsors, dealing with funders. Yeah, there's a lot involved. And at the beginning, there was a very small team of us doing it. And
so you got 32,000. You carried it.
Carried it on to about 2017. City of Culture had happened. City of Culture had made a big splash about. Well, the lead up to City of Culture, before they even got the bid, they made a big splash about Humber Street Sesh, alongside Freedom and Pride and other events in the city. And then City of Culture happened, and we thought we were going to be a big part of it, and the event was name checked in it, and we got a minuscule amount of, let's not beat around the bush. I don't care if it goes up.
I know the same. But
out of a budget of 32 million for City of Culture, we got £6,000 the week before the festival, just so the City of Culture logo could go on the programmes. That's what we got from City of Culture.
That's all it paid for the programmes.
£6,000. So everyone that came that day, that year, saw those programmes and thought it was funded by City of Culture, because City of Culture was everywhere, and we got £6,000 for that out of 32 million, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
But we expanded it over both sides of the marina, east and west. Did it over 2 days as well, Friday and Saturday. We felt as if we'd arrived, and we felt as if we'd pulled off a fully fledged festival. There was a few tweaks with bars and toilets and ticket queues and stuff like that. And then of course COVID happened, and that just knocked us all sideways. And it was a big challenge to come back from that. We didn't receive any arts funding from Arts Council, which was a big body blow, huge body blow. But just through determination and
carry on. I'm just going to draw this curtain a little bit. Go on.
Just through determination.
You're glowing, and I'm just like a little bit not glowing as much as you.
Just through determination and passion, and just the fact that we wanted to keep doing it.
Yeah.
We got through COVID, and we tried one in Queen's Gardens as a tester, see if the people still wanted it. Got about 7,000 to that one. And then when we realised we could come back to the marina in 2022, we opened this venue, Social. So that took up a lot more time. And then Trinity Live started as well, and we've been doing that, as well as the weekly Sesh night. But in 2022, when we brought Humber Street Sesh back to the marina, we realised that we couldn't just close down Humber Street like we had done in previous years, because there was a lot more development down there, a lot more businesses. There's some businesses that would love to be part of the festival. There's some businesses that don't want anything to do with the festival. It's really hard to stop access to people's businesses. It's bad enough. It's hard enough, not bad enough, but it's hard enough trying to look after the residents who sort of kindly allow us to put a festival in their backyard. So there's a lot of work done with residents with regard to like alternative car parking, issuing wristbands to everyone, making sure everyone's got access to their properties during the festival. So yeah, there's a lot involved, but we found ourselves in 22, 23 working on a much smaller site, and it's
more manageable.
So there's a plus and a minus. There's pros and cons with it. Like the pro is the delivery is a lot easier. We found this year was a really easy delivery. We felt as if, well, not easy, but we felt as if the delivery of the event went very, very well, and that's all credit to the team, really, because everyone knew what they were doing. So whereas in previous years, possibly myself, Dave and Justine might micromanage a little bit too much, whereas this year we left everyone to their own devices, give them guidelines, give them a brief, told them what we wanted. Like Beach Bus, you went, smashed it and delivered it without me going over there in 5 minutes going, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Oh, can we have these posts? Can you put those graffiti balls straight there? Can you do this? Hands off a bit this year.
Yeah.
So the delivery was so much better this year, though the actual process to get to putting on the festival was much harder. So sponsorship was okay, and we're very grateful for the businesses that support the event. But we need big sponsorship. We need proper sponsorship at this festival. It's lovely, getting £500 here or £1,000 here or £5,000 from someone. And, we really, we welcome that support, and we thank them dearly for that sponsorship. But if a stage is costing you 50, 60 grand to put on, just one stage, with all the acts and the production behind it and everything, you need a sponsor that's going to cover that cost, because the ticket sales don't cover it alongside the food and the bars. So and without funding, it's been a huge struggle. We get help from council on bits and bobs with regards to road closures and helping us with traffic management and giving us permissions and licensing and all that. There's lots of that, but there's very little support there from funding bodies. Arts Council don't give us anything anymore, and
it does help to start off, but then when you have a bit of longevity, you can't sustain it, can they?
Well, because I think we made the mistake of becoming a limited company when really we should have become a charity. We should have become a CIC, and if we become a CIC, maybe we could open up more funding opportunities to sustain the festival.
Yeah.
So at the moment we're in that sort of tricky position where we want to carry on with what we're doing. We want to expand. We still have ambition. We're still passionate. We're still enthusiastic. I still love live music. I love bringing people together. But it's the financial side. If we can't get that right, then it hasn't got legs. And the financial side is a mixed economy of funding, sponsorship, tickets, and food and bars. And the food and bars did okay this year and helped towards it. Tickets were a bit down this year because
clashes with all of everything else going on.
Yeah, OKR going down to Wembley took 30,000 people, wasn't it? So we know at the festival this year we were 3,000 down, which obviously has ramifications. So it was a great delivery of the event, but it was a very hard process getting there. And
I mean, I don't want to get into the financial stuff, but did you break even?
We've broken even, yeah. Well, we think so. We're still waiting for some payments to come back from bars, and we've got to see what our VAT bill is and everything. But we broke even, but there comes a point when you've got to start talking about wages for those that have spent all year working.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you manage to compensate people? Or
everyone gets paid. Everyone gets paid at the festival. The last people to get paid is myself, Dave, and Justine, the three directors. And we just take a dividend from the festival. So if the profit's not there, we don't get paid. So over 10 years of festivals, there's been years where we haven't been paid at all, and there's been years when we've been paid a little.
Yeah,
but it's a great event where everyone benefits.
Everyone has a good time.
Everyone benefits. The city benefits. The council benefit. The businesses benefit. The artists benefit. The production teams. The contractors, everyone benefits. the only three that don't benefit from it is the three bloody directors. And
everybody gives you a pat on the back and goes, we had a great time.
And that's not enough anymore.
Do you know what I mean?
The first 5 years, I could live off that. I could live off people going, oh, well done, you've done a great job. Oh, this is so good for the city. Oh, your kids must be so proud. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. But there comes a point. It's harder now because in the early years I was just doing Sesh and the festival. Now I'm doing Sesh still, 20 years on this year, and the festival, and a 300 cap venue, and Trinity Live, and doing events at all university, looking at other festivals as well. There's a lot going on now.
Is that because of the success of, obviously, I think the Humber Street session? Thought, well, you know, this guy, he knows a lot. He's got a good resume of like people, and he knows. Do you know what I'm saying? Because do you do all this stuff by yourself, or do you have like other people that a team of people that you deliver these? Do you know what I mean? Or sometimes you have to. So I'm gonna keep these for myself and get paid for these, and sometimes you can bring other people in. So I mean, all these.
All events. I will have a team around me. Like all events, it's the only thing I do on my own is DJ. I will DJ on my own. I don't need anyone holding me out DJing, whatever style. But with gigs now, you always like
you have a smaller team.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your team. There's no I in team. It's So I've mentioned Dave Justine, like he's been fellow directors of Humber Street Sesh. We've also got a silent partner as well, which I can't go into. We've got someone quite influential in the music industry that gives us advice and has helped us in the past, and will help us in the future. But on a day-to-day basis, when it comes to like programming, when I'm programming stuff for the weekly Sesh or for Trinity Live or for Humber Street Sesh, I work alongside the lovely Daniel Mower. Dan's been a big part of Sesh for the last 10 years. So Dan helps me with a lot of the bookings. And when it comes to the bookings, there's also the advancing side of it as well. So once you book your band or your acts, then you've got to give them all the details about the gig. And that's the advancing process. So Dan helps me with the booking and advancing. Then we have various people as engineers. Depends what sound companies we work for or work with. So at Polar Bear, we have Rowan Foster, who's been trained up through the Goodwin Music Lab initiative, I think it was. Creates a Change initiative. So Rowan Foster has taken over from Paul Sargison at Polar Bear and is now our engineer there. Then we've got Simon Hunter, who's our engineer here at Social. And then when it comes to the festival, we like to work with local contractors, and we work with the best with regard to HPSS, ITSL, and Africa Studios. And then there's Epic Events as well, run by the lovely Josh Bell, who does Big Malarkey in Leeds Park and helps out a lot of events. He's a top guy. But no, it goes back. So I mentioned Beats Plus earlier. There's also Residents Association, massive part of the festival with Scott Langthorpe and they help. You've got Original Brew with Mark and Dan Richardson, who bring out funky DJs doing their 50s or 60s R&B and soul and doo-wop and whatever, and that's a brilliant aspect of the festival. There's Freedom Road Creative Arts to work with the youth in the city. Is a great youth organisation, and they've been a massive part of what we've done over the years with the festival. Wilberforce College come on board a few years back, and they help with the youth stage as well. There's so many different little organisations, and it goes back to if you get everyone working together with the same goal, you can all share the rewards. So everyone gets paid at the festival, but they also share the experience of the festival.
And they bring their own element as well to it, don't they? And they're kind of quite professional as well, and how they
definitely
kind of present themselves and deliver. Do you know what I mean? And I think like say you want to be peace of mind and left for somebody just to create that space for them, just leave them to. Do you know what I mean? Do what they do best.
But also you encourage if you can lead without micromanaging, if you can lead with passion and enthusiasm, and you're informed and you can excite people at the same time, if you can educate them a little bit with processes, in respect to artists and acts, it's the easiest thing for me to talk about because that's what I like working with. When we first started the Sesh, to try and get a photo off a band was really hard. Mobile phones weren't so big then back in the early days, but to get a good quality photo from a band was really hard. To get a band to think about an EPK was unheard of. No one for the original sort of grassroots bands and that wouldn't have a clue what an EPK was sort of 10, 15 years ago. They all know what one is now because we're all on them. For every event we do, we go, right, we need a good photo, we need your social media links, we need a short bio, we need a good video, we need your contact details, we need your spec details. And we sort of put these practices in place.
You've got to remind people.
And it's sort of...
I know we want that slack.
Educating and inspiring people to come up with better practices. And then obviously that sort of generates a much more informed sector, which then can lead to bigger and better things. They know how to deal with industry.
Yeah, it's true because, even like some of the people that we work with, some of the drill guys and stuff, a couple of them missed out. Simply because I approached the ministry, I told him what I wanted, I was like, yeah, I'll get it tomorrow. Then I have to message him a few times, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm leaving out. And then his mate contacted me, and I said to him, yeah, I'll put you on standby, but we'll see what happens. And then I said, oh, who are you bringing with you? And he goes, oh, I said, sorry, I brought somebody else in instead. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then he contacted me 2 days before.
Oh, the amount of...
And I'm saying, look, you can afford to write lyrics, so how come you can't afford to just send me a bio? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So it's that practice, isn't it? If you want to step into that world, believe that when you do, you're competing with guys like us, do you know what I mean? All you know what I mean? We're on it, do you know what I mean? Every day. We know what we're doing, do you know what I'm saying? So you have to be at par like that.
I think the key word is engagement. If you want to do well in in anything you enjoy and you've got a passion for, if you want to engage in that particular industry, you've got to learn how to engage. And it's all right, sort of sending an email with a tracking, but give it some feedback as well. Not feedback, give it some substance as well. Sort of let the reader know exactly where you're coming from, who you are, where you've come from, where you're aiming to go, where they can find more music, where can they find your gigs, where can they find your merchandise. And it's all those sort of practices that we've been trying to encourage the city to do. And you're right, hip hop's one genre that is quite slack on it. The metal genre is quite slack on it as well. But even some of the young indie bands sort of coming through, God, it's so hard to get a good photo from, or a good bio, or a good video. And if you're looking for gigs and festival slots, the first thing I'd do if I was an artist or a band, as well as getting a really good photo, a really exciting photo as well, you've got to put yourself in the mind of the booker or the promoter. And if you send a picture off your phone of you and your mates just in your casual jeans and t-shirts or whatever, sat on a couch like that, it's not that exciting. But if you can think outside the box,
nothing, are you?
if you can think outside the box a little bit with the way you sort of present yourself with a good photo and image and everything, and then get your words right with your bio. But the first thing that most promotable for me, I know, with Sesh when we're sort of programming, I go to the live video, because any band or act can go to a studio and they can lay down a track. And then get in the studio and tweak it and make it sound amazing and send that to us. And we go, oh, they sound great. And then book them. And when they're live on stage, they haven't got the producer in the studio behind them. Totally different.
Live is raw.
So live videos is where it's at for most promoters and bookers when they're looking at booking gigs. They look for a live video and they go, that's exactly the sort of performance I'm going to get when I book them. They're all right.
You can see the character, the talent, do you know what I mean?
And the funny thing, the biggest thing now is no one's got most people have got a phone now, and these phones are
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. They can take videos, they can take photos. You can even text on them. You can even write emails. You can write. You know what I mean?
You do everything.
You've got a phone in your hand. So if a promoter approaches you and says, "Oh, do you want a gig? Do you want to send your EPK over, or send me some details about you?" You've got no excuse if you've got your phone, because you're on your phone most of the day anyway. Look at your social media sites and whatever.
You can write bags in your notes, can't you? And send it off altogether.
So that's what I think the likes, not just myself, but Dan, there's some great promoters in the city. There's some great people working in music development like you guys do at Beast Bus and at the colleges and uni. If we could just keep on, pushing that that need to sort of step up and engage and get your practices in place, we can really build this industry in the city, and then we can engage wider industry. And we've seen it over the last 10 years. More and more bands are getting gigs out of town now and playing some good gigs and some good festivals as well. Bands are getting in the studio a little bit more. Saying that, it's been a bit slack since COVID. I think that's a financial thing. I think it's a sign of the times economically that bands can't afford to go in the studio so much as they did pre-COVID, pre-economic climate. Yeah. So bands are more willing to gig than ever before. I'd like to see a bit more creativity in the studio, but that all comes down to that, I think.
Yeah. And like I said, was on about, how obviously how much time you put in and kind of the workload that you put in, and even the pressure that it puts on you. Because as we know, was it last year you suffered a minor heart attack?
Oh, no, I've had.
Was that from the pressure?
I've had a couple of episodes with the festival over the years.
Justine
and me sat over that table laughing at me now.
I mean,
no, there was one year when it's my own fault. I sort of overdosed on like the Red Bulls. I was drinking lots of Red Bulls. I was getting through the Red Bulls to because I was at it working day and night, whether it's a festival during the day, planning, and then I was DJing out 4 or 5 nights a week to the early hours, and then I was having meetings the next morning. So I was just coffee, Red Bull, Red Bull. And
that's what led to.
No, that's what led to that. No, so I had heart palpitations. I was in a bad way, and I got rushed to hospital. And at first they thought it was angina, and they did all the tests and checks and everything. And then they started asking questions about me eating and drinking habits, and they sort of basically determined that I've had too much caffeine. And I need to calm the fuck down. So I did. So that was one.
Then you realised, could you sleep at night?
Yeah, no, not really. But I sort of tempered it with other nocturnal activities.
Of course, man. So
the second one was 20. This was a scary one. 2015, 16, I think it was. And I woke up one morning. I was quite stressed with the process, not the delivery. The delivery of the events, the enjoyable bit. The actual process of finding them finance and everything and putting things in place. It was really hard, I think 2015, 2016, and we had very little funding, and I woke up one morning, my face had dropped one side, so we called an ambulance. I got rushed in thinking it was a stroke, and the guy, he was a trainee doctor, nurse, whatever, from the Bronx, who was working at All Royal. And he just did some checks, and he's like, look, you've got a bit of high blood pressure, you've got a bit of this, but it's not a stroke. We don't think it's a stroke. It could be a mini stroke, but we don't think so. Are you stressed? And I said, yeah.
No.
I said, yeah, I am a little bit. And they said, well, you need to relax. Can you do anything that will make you relax? And I said, yeah, I know what I can do to make me relax. And I did. And yeah,
nice.
I just chilled out a little bit more. And I started realising that it's better to go through events like this, which unfortunately means you don't get any highs.
Rather than panicking.
But you don't get any highs when you're like this. But when you don't get any highs and you're just flatlining, you don't get any lows either. So I sort of quite enjoyed that for a number of years. But it's starting to go the other way again now, where it's...
So result back to...
But it is, it's a challenge. It's a challenge trying to bring everyone together to work for the common goal. And it's hard as well because there's a misconception, and not just with friends or with the general public, but even with family or whatever, where they see the pretty pictures, they see the big festivals, the big events, and they think, oh, they're raking it in, making a fortune, blah blah blah. And the reality is, I was better off when I was doing Linux, DJing 4 or 5 nights a week. I had more money in my pocket then than I do now, which is mad when you think I've got a venue, a festival, and all these events. But there's no money in grassroots music. People don't believe that. It's really hard to make money in grassroots music, and if we charge, because it's a low-income city hall, if we charge £50-60 for the Humber Street Sesh, I'd probably have my own house and a nice car and everything. But because we're charging we were charging £3 and £5, or it's now like 10, 15 and £20, it's just wiping its face. There's no real profit with it. And the hard bit is dealing with that misconception where people sort of have treated me different a little bit over the last 10 years. They think either I'm up my own arse or I've made loads of money, and it's like, I haven't fucking changed. I'm the same person I was in Torquay back in 1985. Nothing's changed, you know? So, yeah, that's the hard bit.
The main thing is you're managing to make a living out of it.
Get by.
You know what I'm saying?
Get by.
Kind of good kids have grown up.
I think if you can,
less pressure.
I think you're a great example of it. If you can wake up each day doing something you love, it's not really work, is it?
You never do a day's work again,
yeah,
so
you know what I mean?
What you do.
So I'm very happy and privileged to sort of be in this position, working in the industry that I love, and being surrounded by some really positive, creative people. And yeah, I'd advise anyone, if you get a chance, get involved, engage. Yeah. And learn the ropes, and you can.
Exactly.
Hook nor crook, you can make a living in music. You can.
Yeah, it's got to be into it and find different angles to make it work.
Yeah, even if you're not making music, if you're not making money through your music, start looking at the social media side, or the marketing side, or the photography side, or the business side of it. There's loads of little angles you can get involved in. That was a good thing at the Launchpad conference. There was a lot of people, on that panel that were saying, like, I wanted to make a career in music through my music, but I've realised over the years that I've got to do these extra things to keep me engaged in the industry, and they've managed to succeed. Stu Baxter's probably the best example we can say in the city. Not only is he a very talented musician, but he's also a great producer, great photographer, great web designer. He can do it all pretty much, and he's testament to just passion and hard work.
Of course, man. Yeah, so you mentioned Dave Mays, because he's a big player in the city, and
I wouldn't go that far.
I've known him for quite a while.
No, he's not listening.
I know he's not. I've known him quite a while, because I've done a lot of events like his place when he had the lamp, and even like Tower and stuff, and like the Wally and stuff, so I've always been kind of quite close to Dave, friends with him, do you know what I mean? And kind of he knows, like I say, he knows the city more than anybody else, doesn't he?
His family's been involved in the entertainment industry for about 45 years now. Which started with Wally, his dad, and him and Rob.
Bless his soul. And when I was doing leisure studies at college, and I picked him as my subject to study. Yeah, and I was with him for 2 or 3 days, man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Got quite close to him, you know what I mean? 'Cause it was like the boxing days too. Yeah,
of course, his dad was a boxer and everything.
I actually did a dissertation on him, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And he was a nice guy, met him. I mean, I remember going and managing to get the interview with him, do you know what I mean? It was quite cool. I think he kind of liked me, do you know what I mean? So he was willing to talk to me and stuff. So I've got it somewhere, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd love to that dissertation.
Yeah.
No, he's a character. He's a mover and shaker. He makes things happen, and you need people like that in a city like this to make things happen. You need that. He's like the oil in that cog that makes things turn. He gets people excited about events and gigs, and by hook or crook, things happen.
Yeah. So we talked about, obviously, I'm going to go in too long anyway, but what do you do in spare time? I mean, how do you relax, man? How do you? I mean, don't say you've got spare time, but I mean, how do you
spare time? I'm married, I've got 3 kids. I like travelling when I get a chance to do so.
You managed to get away?
Record collecting is a big thing.
You managed to, what do you, out of town or just like in your own city? You managed to get away then? You usually take a break after the...
I haven't done this year yet.
So that's why I was thinking, whether he was going to be
I like going home. I won't deny I'm pretty homesick for Torquay. I've been up here a long time now. What was it? 31 years. I do miss Torquay. I miss the Bay hugely. Could move back there tomorrow, but my family's up here, my work's up here, so I'm stuck here for now. Whether I'll relocate down there in the future, potentially, whether the wife will down to
You say about there?
Yeah, I love it down there, and my mum's down there, and my brother and sister are down there, and I've got a few friends down there as well.
You can't beat where your mum is, man.
Huh?
You can't beat where your mum is.
No, I like going home and seeing them, and but I also like the sun as well. And you can't, even though Torquay, you think it's going to be sunny down there, it's not always sunny, and not in this country. So I do like to try and get abroad if I can, sort of once a year, once every couple of years, once every 3 years, whatever. But yeah, we go all over the place. Done some travelling, lived in different places before I sort of came to Wales.
Sounds like it, bro. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect anyway, bro. Keep rocking, man.
Keep going.
And pleasure for.
Well, let's see if we can expand on what Beats Plus does at the festival next year, and let's keep talking through the year. And let's try and get excited about it a bit earlier, because this year was sort of left it until the last month really. It comes around real quickly, but let's start thinking of what you can do on stage at the Dock. How can you present Beats Plus in a better way? How can you provide a bigger platform for those kids? How can you reach out to more people? How much more money budget do you need? These are the questions we need to know in January and February.
Thinking out the box.
Not like the month before the festival when budgets are so tight. Whereas if you talk about it in January, that's when you can start thinking about, maybe we can get some funding for that and double your. Do you know what I mean? And then we can expand and make things better for everyone concerned.
I hear you.
I think it's got legs.
Of course it has. Had legs for a while, so yeah. That's what we can do.
Yeah, top man.
Yeah, big up to Mark Page, representing Humber Street. What does it representing? What is Humber Street Sesh or the Sesh?
Representing the Sesh, yeah.
That's what the original.
Yeah, representing the Sesh because that's where it's all comes.
Encompass everything.
That's where it's all come from.
Yeah, representing the Sesh.
But don't forget Torquay.
Representing Torquay and Hull.
I love it. I'm the only goal in all.
That's it. Full Flavour TV.